Hello? Does my microphone work? Yes, I think it does. Good evening. Good evening. Today we will be continuing with the beginner exercises. Usually on Thursdays we work on our animal anatomy project, but Tom's PC is rejecting its parts. it's uh, it's not good. It's not good. So I would, since I promised to show uh, one of our commenters an exercise for the eyes, I thought I'd just continue with all of the exercises as we were doing last week. So last week we went over some beginner exercises like squaring the sphere and sculpting your fist, and we then went into each of the features of the face. Yeah, you can always download this Z tool from our Gumroad if you want to join in. So I recommend doing that now. You can also get there through our link tree, which is down there in the corner. And so last week we went over the mouth and we did the ear. Let's take the we did the mouth. We created this mouth. We created this ear. And so, and at the very end we tried to spend a couple minutes to create some of the planes of the face. So now let's go and try to recreate the eye. First, I will try to explain the things that I'm looking for, and please ask away if there's any questions. Yeah, so in Lanteri's book, this book, Edward Lanteri, he describes that studying from the David is the best way to learn sculpture. The features of the face are the best parts to learn because they are all very well defined. So that's why we put this together, and this is his first step of the eye. For me, this looks like step 5 or 6, but in his book this is step 1. So we will try and follow that, and I will grab this part back when I need it. I'll just make it very small for now. So if you want to join in, we have the Z tool with all of these files together, and all we have to do to start working is to make the folder with the part that you're working on visible, hide all the other folders. Looks like I still have the mouth turned on, so we hide that as well. And then we select the block of the eye start, and we can go up to transform, split screen, set it to 1, and now we can start working with the 3D reference. So the first thing that I will do is to create some of the volumes. So with volumes I just mean like the biggest parts that fill up the area. So let me grab my pen tool again as well, and big pen. For this part, it would be like a big area on top of the eye, and then around for the eyeball, around form for the eyeball, and maybe a little bit of the nose. So the big area here, eyeball, and part of the nose. That will be the volumes that I will be looking for first. So why those volumes? Oh wait, you don't see my pen. Grab me a pen, please. Just 1 second. I have to go into the other scene. And then click this, and then okay, and now you should be able to see it. We go back to me. Aha! So, as I was saying, why am I going for those volumes? Well, those volumes have to do with the skull. Because an eye is not as much about the eye and the eyelids as much as it is about the skull and the placement of the eyeball within the skull. So if we were to have an eyeball in this skull, it would be placed right there. And if you can have all of these forms defined, you already know that you're looking at an eyeball. Let's go, Amanda! Let's go! Let's see. So, here you can see one from below. You can see how much of the eye is just defined by everything around the eye. So that's also one of the pieces of advice that Ryan Kingsline gave me. Is like, when sculpting the eye, sculpt everything around the eye, and then you will end up with an eye. So that's the order we're gonna be doing things in. I will use the mask to only affect the front part of it, and since we have everything side by side, I can easily measure how far out everything needs to go. Smart. Step 1, sculpt around. Step 2, add details. Step 3, done. Grab a cup of coffee and enjoy your work. I'll do it from the side as well. For the nose area. So the bridge of the nose is a little bit higher than where I have it, so I'll just draw that in a little bit. And the eye is sitting very deep within that socket. Nice and deep. Let's get a little bit of cheek. The bottom of the eye socket, right? And then we can ZBrush, no, not ZBrush, Dynamesh to increase some detail. But before we increase detail, let's measure how close we are with all of our parts. So I can use the edges of my screen to measure from left to right. So on the right side is my mesh, and if I hold this up to the line over here, if I hold the reference mesh up to the line, you can see that my mesh is missing in height. So especially when starting out, measure. The better your eye gets at measuring the reference, the easier it will be to create that reference. shadows, but it's already there. Sorry. Just lowering my volume a little bit. Let me know if the music is too loud or not loud enough. Okay, let's do the same for the cheek. So hold it up to the line. See that the cheek is also not going out far enough. Easily measure. Music is good. Thank you. Thank you. Good to know. And for the left and right, we can do also the same, but not with the gray line. You have to go to the edge of the canvas. So let me just explain quickly how that works in ZBrush. There's a button in Document over here. That's Zoom. So if you hold that, you can zoom in and out of your canvas. And you can see that the edge of the canvas is where this darker border starts. So if my model is touching the middle line, then it should be touching the edge of the canvas, and then it will be correct. So looks like those are pretty close, just the highest point is a little bit lower. But I will zoom back in. I can leave a little bit more space if that's better for you guys, but usually I just have my canvas all the way zoomed in to like just with the actual button, actual size. Bloop. So that 1 pixel is the size of 1 pixel. It's basically what that means. I can turn the music down a little bit, yes. Just go here. Just a little bit lower. Is that better? Let me know, please. And what I was looking at before is over here. The high point is a little bit lower than it is in mine. So a little bit more here. So I could be measuring that with this line again as well, but you don't have to do it 100% of the time, though that would be the most accurate way. You gotta keep it fun a little bit as well, right? So yeah, that's close. You can do the same on the top. I'm going to try the angle a little bit. Okay. So now we have the volumes of most of the eye socket. And so this would be the eye socket. Here would be a beautiful nose. Eyebrows. Page of the head. Cheekbone. And a beautiful scope. And so now we're just missing the volume of the eyeball. So we're just gonna place that in here, and you can see that this, maybe I have placed my top of the skull, no, eye socket, yes, that's what I was looking for, the top of the brow a little bit high in my part, so I'm just gonna pull that down before I do that eyeball. So just over here. So monsterism, if you're in there, come say hi. Monsterism was the one on YouTube asking for the eyes, but otherwise you can always look all of this stuff back in the live tab. And rewatch it several times. Would be great for our watch time. So let's put a little bit of that eyeball volume in there. And I think that's enough to start adding more resolution. So I will go down to geometry, Dynamesh, and set my resolution to something. Well, for me it's set to 128. Let's see what it gives me. You have to clear your mask, control and drag, click the button, and looks like that is fine, but we are getting these triangles and that's not nice to sculpt with, so we will undo and we make sure that this project button, the orange one, is turned off. That will get rid of those triangles when we Dynamesh again. Now we don't have as many triangles, so we can just smooth it out a little for the vibes. And yeah, I think my nose is going inwards a little bit too much, so his nose over here. Let's move the camera down to see exactly what that line is. Yeah, it's going a lot steeper while mine is going out and then steep. So we're going to make that one big transition down by pushing this edge inward. So what I'm using now is the clay build-up brush, clay build-up over here. I have just hotkeyed everything, so I just pressed another brush. I just have to press B on my keyboard to get it. The default hotkeys would be B, B, C. So B would open up this palette, and then you press B. Oh no. So B, C for clay, and then the B for build-up. That would be the default hotkey. But for me, I found that this is one of the brushes that I use so much that I just gave it its own hotkey. So I'm trying to define some of the edges. This needs to be a little bit lower, I think. Again, still. So I'm just creating lines in space, which are very defined and thus easy to measure. So this line is too low. Let's push it up. It's similar to the bark drawings that 2D artists sometimes do in some schools. So now I'm going to look for this point. So I put it against the edge of the canvas, and I see it measures to up here, so I have to extend my line a little bit. Let's erase and extend. Oh, the brush I'm using to make the lines with is the damn standard. So D and S. B, D, S would be the default shortcut. For me, it's just D. I lost my point a little bit. Go over here. Okay, so this. Right? Set it. Yeah. That's the point. Then we're going down. This is how all of the stuff that we are filling in. So this nose looks like I've lost some volume there. Let's work that up a little bit. Keep the nose. This thing over here. Maybe I'm a bit wide. Let's see. Yeah, not far off. Not far off. Hello, Mr. 50. How are you? Here, somewhere on this line will be this point, so we can do the same. Underneath. Looks like it will start a little bit higher. There. Ooh. Oh no, you're sick. Throw up at 4 AM. Oh my gosh. That is not a good night's sleep. Oh, I'm doing good. Bram's computer is just rejecting the new parts that he got. It's the part that was supposed to make the computer a better boy is not seeming to want those new parts. It's like a donor, organ donor kind of situation that they get the organs rejected. So, I have drawn. So at the moment, I'm just drawing all of the positions in from the front angle. So I have more or less this line and I start of this line. They are probably not all in the right positions yet, but we will first place them and then we can change their positions later. So when I'm making an eye, I always get like this round of the eyeball first, and then I will draw in with the damn standard the lids. That's how I usually make up an eye. So I draw it in. That's this line is to sideways. And same for the bottom. It looks very different at the moment. Let me just do these steps. It's bothering me. Hopefully it's not bothering you too much, but we'll see. So I draw them in first, and then for these sticky out bits I usually with damn standard, instead of drawing usual, I hold Alt so it comes outwards, and I pull these lids out, both on the top and the bottom. And now we try to fill in the spaces that created. Play build up. Fill out the eyelid. So the eyelids are usually, at least for me, they were always a lot thicker than I would make them. So that's something that now I always double check. So one way to make the eyelid thicker is to push the eyeball back in. And I will sometimes also use the mask. Oh, that's not mask, this is mask. On the eyeball. And pull out the eyelids a little bit farther. And notice from the bottom, right? Notice how, because we start with an eyeball shape, how round everything is. Everything is forming around that eyeball. If he was just looking forwards, like straight forward, this guy is looking a little bit off to the side. If he was looking straight forward, we'd have the highest point over here. Because of the pupils changing, it slightly changes where the highest point is. Highest as seen from the bottom. I think my whole eye is a little bit big on the big side. David already has quite a big eye for himself. So let's see, left. That looks fine, and on the right hand side it's too far. So I'll move this in a little bit and see if we can line it up to this. So I now check from the bottom if everything is still round. Looks quite round, and from the bottom I think mine is coming too far forwards, but it might just be the lagging volumes on the top side. Yeah, it is slightly forward. So grab that whole eye, a very big move brush, and let's move back down. I will pull on the corners as well, so I don't, because if I only pull in the middle, you'll get this very flat eye. This will get dented more in the middle. So I will also pull on the left corner and on the right corner, so that the middle keeps its roundness a little bit better. And let's see, this bag is a lot deeper. You can see that from the shadow that it's clearing over here that I don't have. So let's draw that eyebrow in that he has. It's like laying on top of some skull structures that are there. It's quite interesting. So we have actually that in our image. We have the skull structure, and there's this superciliary arch. Superciliary arch. Doesn't matter too much what the name is, but there's this. It's this bony protrusion. If my pen wants to go. Ctrl-Shift D. It's this bony protrusion. So this is sticking out a little bit more, and then this is like going under and then sticking out like this, which creates this crossing of shapes basically. So you can see like this shape is underneath the form of this. And where David's eyebrow is drawn is like right all over the top of that. And then he has some fat pads hanging underneath. Super silly. So I will fill up that space a little bit and create that super silly crossing of shapes. So I'll make it up a little bit heavy at first, and the super silly arch actually, like, I'm not sure if this skull has pointed it out on here, but yeah, I think he's drawn over it a little bit. You can see that this super silly arch actually like goes a little bit inside. So if you look at this plane, it goes almost to the inside of the eye socket. So that's over here. That's happening over here. This arch is slightly inside of the eye socket. As we can see on Michelangelo's as well, slightly into the eye socket. Those shapes going underneath each other. So I'm using the clay buildup to push those shapes back, and often I'm not just building up with the clay buildup, but I'm slimming down. I put some volume on and I take it away, put it back on and I take it away. I went a little bit low. So you know how our brains are very used to seeing faces, and they can easily spot something strange in the face. I always feel like that is even more the case with eyes. I mean, I guess in general, our brain is very good at recognizing the faces, but it's also specifically very good at recognizing the eyes. Which makes the eye very important and very difficult. Because your brain will be like, something's off. I see it's an eye, but it's not an entirely good eye. Your brain, your intuition will tell you this, and then it's up to you to figure out why it's telling you this. let's see. Something is feeling off. I think I lost a little bit of my roundness. The eye. Let's draw a little bit of a pupil. You like how it's looking? Thank you, Bram. I'm just stealing from the master. Just see this. Seems to be at the right height, so maybe my lowest point is too low. Yes. So if I'm looking over here, I'm lining up this, and that is like all the way up here on my eye, so I need to compensate this whole area. It doesn't look like much now, but since our brains are so sensitive to eyes, it does make it look like a very different eye. I will, in this case, mask. A whole lot. And then move this eyelid up. Let's see, is this high enough? Nope, not yet. No, I think this. Let's measure again. Closer, maybe a little bit too high now. A tiny bit down, but it will slim down when we go up in resolution anyway. And I want to create as well this depth underneath the eyelid, because that just creates the look of those forms being separate forms and not transitioning into each other. So I will probably just do the same kind of thing as that I did for the bottom lid. Masking. Ooh. And let's also measure. It can be a little bit higher. And this can be a little bit higher too. So let's just do all of that first. A little bit higher. Top of the eyelid. Seems in the right place, just not deep enough. And then the fold. Seems okay now. And this is like the highest point is over here on the right hand side. This point's slightly lower. Let's try to not move this anymore, so I'll mask that out. And let's get this eyeball underneath. I will inverse my mask. Mask the brow out again. And grab a nice big brush. And tuck the eyeball underneath. I'm losing a little bit of the sphere-ness. So what I would like to do is to pull the outer edge backwards. But if I do that right now, I will get a lot of space. Like, I would create a cavity that's like this. So I will use something that's called AccuCurve. So the default setting of the move brush will move like this, with a big mountain. But if we go to even smaller brush and then curve, and we hit this AccuCurve button, look what that does to what it grabs. It makes it a lot sharper. So if now I grab this back edge, you see that the fall off is a lot sharper. So I will have to prepare a lot less. I'll first tuck in that very edge. Oh, let me undo all of that so I don't have these bumps anymore. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Let's tuck that all in. And up. And now I will turn AccuCurve off. Boop. And pull the roundness back out again. So, as you see, my pupil stretched. It's no worries, we just smooth that out. Fix up the bumps. I think it got too big. Probably the lid can come down a little bit more. But let's measure this before I move it. Yeah, just a little bit. It's not much. It's not much. So try to do a little mask again. And we move this down slightly. Okay. How is it looking from the side? From the side, I see I have quite a problem. Where if we look at our eyeball, the top lid and the bottom lid are sitting like at the same plane, while regularly they are sitting offset from each other. Let me see, Proco had a very nice image for that. Was it? This image. Look at. So if this is. Whoa. If the center of the ball is kind of here, the top lid is close to the center, and the bottom lid is further away, and they create this angle together. They are not straight like this line, they are at an angle. Click, 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 click. So that is what I need to create. So my eyeball just became like down too much and probably became a little bit big. Delete this. So just push this backwards a little. Wait, we can measure this actually as well. The top eyelid is going forward far enough. The bottom needs to go a little bit further back. And I need to preserve the depth, so I should do this from the other side as well. Just there's this nose in the way. but luckily we don't work with real clay, and we can just hide it temporarily and move it inside. So the way that I was hiding that is by holding Control Shift and then dragging to get this green square. Everything that's within the green square will be shown and the rest will be hidden. Like this. So what I did is holding Control and Shift and then Alt, and you see it turns red, and the red does the opposite. Everything within the red square will be hidden, so that's what I used to hide that nose area, so I could easily see the inside of the eye over here. Let's try to create that angle that I was talking about before. I think I would like to push the eyeball without the lid on the bottom side a little bit. With AccuCurve, that will do for now. And I have made a shortcut button over here for the AccuCurve, where I can turn it on and off easily without going into the menu. So I turn it off and try to round it out a little bit. What is 50 saying? Intel has some nice CPUs coming out. Yeah. And the GPU is doing better. Yeah, Nvidia is very anti-consumer at the moment. It's just all AI tech companies. That's all that they are providing for at the moment, it seems. So if you don't have big AI money, you're not getting anything. Okay, and to unhide the part that we have hidden before with the Control and Shift is by holding Control Shift and clicking next to your model. Easily peasily. I feel like this is a lot more vertical than it is in mine now. A little bit lower. Set it a little bit higher. Yeah. Masking the border while I go and pull on this part. So I think I mentioned this in the last stream, but it's very important to check your silhouettes from all kinds of angles. Because if it only looks good from the front, then we might as well have just made a drawing, but we are working for sculpture. So drawing is just one part of what we're trying to achieve. So let's try to smooth some shapes out. So when I'm smoothing shapes, I will usually build up across the form. So in this case, what I'm building up is this form that's over here. So I'm building in this direction first. So let's do that. Just with a tiny clay buildup. Let me just press so you can see it like this. But a lot softer. Building up like that. Trying to bridge some gaps. Right now I see that this edge needs to go up a little bit more than this. So I will build in the same direction, but I will press more while I'm on the top and less when I'm at the bottom. Yeah. So I can increase the height on one side. And when I have that shape built, now I will smooth, but without trying to touch these lines. So when I have my brush, I hold shift for the smooth, I will try to have my inner circle, you see those two circles of the brush, you see I have the inner circle and outer circle. I want that inner circle not to touch those lines. So make my brush smaller. Very softly again. So if you press too hard, everything will melt away. I think my line is continuing too far. If you look over here, it stops at this height. It transitions into like an area together over there from this height. So I also feel there's an issue over here in the eye, but let's try to go one issue at a time. From here to here is what I'm going to measure first. So this one seems alright, maybe a little bit lower. And then the other one. And somewhere around there. So just mark it lightly. And from the side, it is right there. So the direction was just slightly off. So why does it look different? Maybe if you look from another angle, this looks a lot flatter. Just move it in a little bit to create the line flatness, and then we'll smooth these transitions together. So again, I will do the same building up and smoothing out, but instead of building up, I'm going to carve out this over here, and I will build up this over here, and I will carve out this over here. So I will only build in this area, and in between I will smooth. Hello Z, hello, what's up? yeah. So, I will. Oh my gosh! More brush, clay buildup, carve out. Build up slightly. I feel like what I'm trying to create is flat. So I'm only building in the areas where I feel it's going too deep. And then very, very softly in the rest. So build. And if I build too much, I carve out. Build it up and take it away. Carve out in here. You can see that I can keep working pretty long in this, what looks like low resolution. The less polish you have, the easier it will be to put each of them in the right place. Working on your 3D sculpt? Nice! Love this meme. Scary movie back then. Yes! There was there's a new scary movie right now, right? Scary movie, I don't know, 6 or something? By the original creators. Like, it's been a long time. The same guys from White Chicks. What's up? There was a little bit of distraction over there. Let me just get back to the area that I said I was working on. Only 6? I thought I had 27 or something. Yeah. I believe at some point the original creators is the Wayans brothers, I believe. At some point they were not involved anymore. Like I think after Scary Movie 3, they were not involved anymore, and now they are back with a vengeance. I have no clue if it's good. I haven't heard that much about it, so. But I mean, it's a scary movie. It's just silly, right? Smooth a little bit. I'm not going to focus too much on this nose area because we are going to do a nose next. Right? I need to focus on that now. So, like this. I think we have most of the shapes. What I often do for pupils in more sculptural sculpts, more sculptural sculpts, if that makes sense. Like where I sculpt the eye in like this instead of having a separate eyeball, is instead of how Michelangelo did it over here, I like to do like carve in the pupil like this. So like basically make the hole like this, right, for the pupil. No, not the pupil, for the iris. And then we carve out the pupil even deeper. And then if you want to be fancy, you can add a little blim, like so. That's how I usually do a more sculptural eye. iris eye. I have a weird bump in here that I'm going to try to smooth out a little. Well, not smooth out, but even out. I really like to do it this way of making an eye. Let's see. Just what it does is it creates shadow. Oh, I'm not using the basic, like go for on the top. Like it creates a shadow on the top and creates a light on the bottom, which is very similar to what a real eye would do. Underneath the lens, this is kind of more or less what the iris will be shaped like. Yeah, the new one's a bit scared what they will do, but I'll see it at the cinema anyway. Oh, seeing it in the cinema. Yeah, I'm scared if it's gonna be shit. I'm not sure. I'm scared too. I don't. That's why I don't think I will go see it in the cinema unless a bunch of people start telling me that it's really good. Otherwise, I'll just wait until whenever I just happen to see it. So I think I will go up one more resolution. I will, instead of subdividing, I will just increase the resolution here underneath Dynamesh in geometry, Dynamesh resolution. I will either double it, so that will be 256. Let's see what that gives me. Yeah, that will be good enough. And I will just work on the eyelids on all of those jaggedy bits a little bit, and then I will call this eye done. Then I will show how I would do the same thing but with an eyeball inside. And then I will show another way where we keep the eyelids separate, so we can more easily control the placement of them. So what I'm doing is just, as I was doing with these other shapes, building up or taking away with the clay buildup, and then slightly smooth without trying to touch the edges. This line needs to be a little bit deeper. So I'm moving it in a little bit, but I think I can with the standard brush push it in a little bit more. Yeah. So just going over the eye. Create a straight edge with clay buildup. Even out the planes around them with clay buildup. Building up and taking away. Taking away and building up in this, so that it creates a nice straight line. And then a little bit of smooth. Like lower this down a little bit. I feel like I can create a little bit more depth in those corners of the eye. And a little bit of overlap, because I have just like a gap in between those two forms, instead of that the one form is going underneath the other one. So I will connect them first. Take it away. Take it away, take it away, take it away now. Build it up. It's almost like little circles because the stripes are that small. Pull this lid down a little bit. A little bit. Oh gosh, sounds so funny. Now build this a little bit. Up. Take it away a little bit because it's got a little bit too thick. It's just a balancing act of that. Let's move softly. I want to keep this line separation, so we'll use the standard because it's just slightly softer than the dam standard. Dam standard would be very sharp and it pinches a little bit, and with the normal standard I can push everything a little bit softer while holding Alt. So push that back in a little bit so we get that separation that they have. And then I'll carve out and make everything straighter. Zeke says that he misses the vibe of the movies during the 2010 era. Maze Runner, Hunger Games, Divergent, yeah. Those were good times. Nostalgia for just 10 years ago. 10 years ago is up. It's that 10 years already. Time flies. The zeros were nice as well. Everything just looks very bleak. I saw some stuff of the new Harry Potter series that's coming to HBO. I was just like, ah, Harry Potter was my youth. So I'm very I'm keeping expectations quite low that they are making something good with it. It's like, it's gotta be hard if they wanna adapt basically a children's book. And then what, for modern audiences, like people that grew up with those books? Or are they trying to capture new audience? Or are they going to try to do both and just miss both audiences? It's like, yeah. It's gotta be so bad. Yeah, I'm afraid of that. Yes. But that said, I don't really need to be afraid because we don't have HBO anyway. So Alfonso Cuarón was the GOAT. For me, the still best Harry Potter, Alfonso Cuarón. Wait, what are we talking about? Mexican filmmaker. Did he do the Harry Potter? Okay, from the third one on. Okay, yeah. I was thinking like the fourth, I guess. Prisoner of Azkaban. Oh, that's the third. Yeah. I was thinking of the Christopher Lee, who did the first two movies. Philosopher's Stone. Director. Chris Columbus, yeah. That's the guy I was thinking about. Yeah, with that many movies, they have had quite a couple of directors. So get this shape that's going inward. And over here it's kind of becoming a little Harry Potter situation. With some hairy hairs. Maybe I've just listened to too much Pokemon lo-fi, but every song on this lo-fi list that starts right now, I think it's going to be a Harry Potter. No, not Harry Potter, a Pokemon lo-fi song. But it never is. Because then Nintendo might take my stream down. Can't have that. No, I was playing Pokopia, I swear. Please, no, Nintendo. Dear Overlords. Oh, that was a good game too, by the way. Overlord. That was so cool. Too bad that studio doesn't make that anymore. Unless they changed their minds. But let's see what I missed. Alfonso Caron. The internet is wonderful. Everyone has access to everything. Ah, well, except that everybody decides like, nope, except you. HBO access. Deep blue with tone black. A bit of smoke. Yeah, that's a whole vibe of that saga indeed. Ah, the werewolf shot was so cool. No HBO in the UK. No, HBO isn't in the UK. The shows from HBO usually go to Sky, but Sky is expensive as hell. Mr. Sensei, Higitras, hello, how are you doing? HBO just got released in the UK today? Today? Really? And they didn't bother to tell me that. HBO UK. Home to groundbreaking series. Is HBO available in the UK? In the UK? 5 hours ago. Damn. Whoa, hot off the presses. Today, out now, HBO. What is HBO? I don't know. The home box office is what it stands for, but it's I just know it from Game of Thrones and Last of Us, and that they produce shows as such. Also, the original Tenacious D show way back in the day was on HBO. Never seen that, just like bits and pieces on YouTube. Tenacious D is great. Love those guys. Let's fix this lower eyelid and then like clean it up a little bit. And then continue to all those other bits that I said I was going to show. HBO. Coincidink. Oh my gosh. The cucumber, he's in the know. He knows all. Or at least he knows 50%. I don't like that line, a little bit lower. So, as you can see at the moment, I'm not measuring too much anymore. I'm just going with what I think is right and trying to do right by that. The time for measuring has passed on this sculpt. At some point, you have to just go with your intuition. I do like it, this over here. He has this little lip. Let's switch to red so you can see a little bit better. His lip that like extends and fades out a little bit. So I will try to get that as well. My sculpts, because I think that's a nice feature. $10 for nothing. Oh man. They banned Discord in my country. Oh no. Oh, I forgot to do the announcement as well. Oh my god, I'm sorry guys. Over here. Oh my god, Bram, thank you. I see you did it. I completely forgot. Completely forgot. Thanks. I'm glad the VPN still work. Yeah, I mean, for me it's a bit mixed success. A lot of websites seem very good nowadays at seeing if you are looking from a VPN or not, and if you're looking from a VPN, then they are like, yeah, no, you're not seeing anything, you don't get anything. God damn it, guys, I just want to watch stuff. So, an eye with a different iris and pupil. I see some difference over here and this, and the shadow looks different in here. But let's see what happens if we lay them over the top of each other. Transform and turn off split screen. And it's okay. Everything is a little bit different. Oh, my eye is too deep on the inside. when I cut the lid off. When I cut the nose so I could move the lid. But the rest of the top eyelids is pretty close. A little bit low. Yeah. A little bit low. But not bad at all. Not bad, not bad. Simply solo. It's just mainly that inner eyelid that went too deep. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot one of the principles of a face. Like, imagine we have two eyes. Oh, wait, actually, maybe we don't have to imagine that. Maybe we just do this. Ah, doesn't work. Imagine you have two beautiful eyes that are definitely not looking in different directions. The plane of the face would be, well, I think it's at the moment too flat. I think it would have like a little bit of a curve on which those eyes are sitting, right? So this curve is something that I have done wrong in my sculpt. And for the eyebrows, I think the eyebrows are pretty decent. You usually have this little bit of a step. I mean, it's a lot stronger in very masculine models. So I think that's pretty decent in the way that is over here. But the plane of the face is something that is not done right at the moment. So that's one of those important things from around the eye. So let's do some more eye ways of doing the eye. I will go a little bit faster over those so that I can also do the nose. Let's turn this off. So I will go to this head. I'll use this as an example. As you can see over here, the plane is already established. And so what we would do is we would create that eye socket, right? Just like we did in the David. And what I then usually do is to create that ball for the eyeball, just like we were doing before. And just like in the David, I will draw in those lids. A good note for the eyelids is if you see like the line that they are sitting on, and both the bottom and top eyelid have a lowest point and have 2 points on between the start and the finish, and one of which is lower and one of which is higher, and the same on this side. And more often than not, in the more generic looking faces, if you make a line like this through the pupil, you'll find that this is the lower point and this is the higher point. And so then this point will just be a little bit lower than this one. This point will be a little bit lower than this one. It's like a little guiding thing. Just remember that that's just like a base rule for generic. So it's good to start out with and then take from what's it called? From a real reference. So if I were to create those eyelets, what I would normally do then, instead of trying to make it a perfect circle within the shape, if I'm working on something, I will often just get an eyeball. So I will append, or let's in this case insert a sphere 3D. I still have the bottom folder not hidden. Voila. And I will scale this down to fit the eyeball. I will use the transparency mode to find where to place it. And then a little bit more inward and forward. And then I just fold those other eyelids around the ball. Right, so then I know I'll push all of this area in where the eyeball is. Then I know that it's going around a perfect sphere. Yep. So high point, lower point. Lower point, higher point. And then from the side we want to have that angle that we talked about before, this angle. This is how I normally start and place the eyes. I think my eyeballs are too big. Another thing that I try to watch out for is the size of the iris. So on a normal non-stylized eyeball, if we divide this eyeball in half, and we divide it in half again, my beautiful straight lines, right? Then the size of the iris falls in between these two, so it's like half of the ball. Oh, very nice, very nice. So that's how I basically place that. So what I would do in ZBrush is wait for autosave. What time is it in my place? What time is it in my place? It is 8:45 in the evening. have the eyeball. I will get my paint and I will turn off lazy mouse. Fill it with white. And I will draw that iris like so. Give it a nice toy plastic material. And then I will grab a color. What color eyes shall we do today? Blue. And if I go crazy, then I will make a little bit of light wiggle lines. Make a little dot for the pupil. And then we have a standard eyeball. And then you can see it's not placed very well within the eyelids, so you can either move those eyelids around or the eyeball. So I'll choose to do the eyelids. Maybe my eyeballs are just too big a little. Just scale it. And what you can also paint on here is, oh, I said paint on here. There's a little bit of shadow, so it'll be transparent. Little bit of fake shadow on there. And now he has a decent start for an eye. Can mirror our head to the other side. I said other side. And then we can go from there. Whee! Crazy eyes. So this is my most normal, usual way to create eyes and eyeballs, eyelids. Now, another way. Let's make a copy of the base again. This way, I learned first from Mr. Danny Mac on YouTube. He's a character artist that does a lot of stylized characters. So the same, I will create the eye sockets, and then I will go straight to the sphere. I said add a sphere, yes. And oh, apparently I did add a sphere, it just wasn't showing before, so let me just delete that. Oh, sneak preview. Let's hide these. And let's, so we have this. We place the eyeball. And what he would then do is to mask the top and the bottom and leave a little slit in between. And extract maybe a little bit less thick. Let's say 0.017. 0.015. Maybe like that. And how to group. So we have two separate parts. And then we can move each of them. Oh wait, let's just put them in the center first. Then rotate the bottom one like this. And the top one like this. Like to create this angle, right? That we were talking about before. And now we have the eyeball. With eyelids, basic eyelids, whoa, already together. We can then place and move around more better. Because they are all in their own groups, you can adjust them together. I would recommend googling Danny Mac eyelids or eyeballs, eyelids, eyes, and he will give you a good explanation around all of this. I think my eyes are just very big at the moment. Let me just scale them down, move them forward, a little bit better. You have them still separate, so I personally like to have each of these in their own subtool, just because that's easier for the way that I like to select stuff. You can move them all together more easily when they're all in the same subtool. But it's a good way to get started, and then we can move the cheek around. Now sculpt it inside of it, and easily just create more space above if we need that, because they are separate. It's a lot. It's very easy to not accidentally change them, right? Unlike this, the Michelangelo that we did earlier, and the David, everything was connected, so you have to be careful with what you're replacing where and with how much pressure. And because this is separate for the time being, you don't have to worry about all of that. So this is, I'm not sure if this is exactly what Bram does, but this is more like how Bram usually does his eyelids. Ah, yes. Bram posted a link to his to the tutorial in the Cool Resources channel on our Discord. So go check that out if this seems like a method that will work for you. Definitely just try it out. See if you like it. And yeah, so this is one way to do eyes. This is another way to do eyes. Click, 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 click. This is usually the way that I go with. And the other most sculptural way is to just have everything connected, like in the David, like this. So this is, in my opinion, the least practical and least this is the most destructive way, and this is the most non-destructive way. You can change everything for longer, easier for longer. And my way is in between the both of them. So, yes. Anything? Any questions? Like, what did you say? Mike, wait a minute. You're not working with separated parts. Uh-huh. That is usually what I do, exactly. As I said, I prefer to have this, turn this off, to just keep most of it together. I often do have an eyeball separate, because it's just hard to keep everything nice and round. It's a lot easier when you have an actual ball in there. But more than that, I do brushing magic. Yes, the magic of the Wacom pen. I just pray to the Wacom every night. And then over time they give me powers. So I just do that for many a year. And hopefully one day I wake up and I'll be Sculpting Meister. Sculpting Meister Mike. Which is best, closed-eyed sculpting or open? Depends. So because I work like this, I sometimes also, like if I go back in history, you can see I sculpted the eyelids, but what you can also do is just sculpt the bottom eyelid and just keep them closed for a while. The reason that I would keep them closed sometimes is so that I don't have to get distracted by the eyes yet. If I keep them closed, it's more easy to focus on all the other parts, because once you have open eyes, that's what your vision will be drawn to a lot. So it can become distracting when you have them open early. So keeping them closed is a way to separate those issues into different steps. One issue at a time. But yes, let's go to the next thing. I can't cheat while somebody's watching me. Yeah, exactly. That's why I have to keep them closed, right? But now I'm safe. But you see how very close the open and the closed eye shape are to each other. Once you have made the one, you can relatively easily change it into the other. But when I open the eyes and things are not in the right position yet, then it's like, something's wrong. But what? a beautiful tiny mouth. Anyway, I am distracted. Let's move on to the nose. Nose is one of my weak points, I feel. Look. Look. The nose. So the good thing about Michelangelo's David nose is that everything is very defined. As just go fill my tea and I finish the mouth. Yes, that's how fast it goes. Let's see, where was he? Whoop. It's not a good mouth yet, but the basic steps that I usually do is to create that a little bit of skin on top, create the M shape, V and M, pull this area back in, of like push with the normal center brush, make the corners of the mouth a little bit deeper, and then round out and create those round over here, this roundness around the corner of the mouth, and that's that. That's the basics of it. It's like this shape should go more inwards and make a little bit better, but another day. Last week we did this one. So you can make that back. You can look back if you want. A masterpiece, so thank you so much. You're too kind. It's not the one that I'm working from is a masterpiece. Well, it's a scan of a masterpiece. It's so good. It's just so good. I saw it in the real lives. Where is the nose now? Here, found it. The nose. So the nose has all of these different bits, where the skull is, and the cartilage, and the front cartilage, and the soft nose wings, by lack of a better word. Wings of the nose, I guess. As you can see, it's nicely separated in all these different areas in this sculpt. So we have nice guides to follow while creating this. So let's do our best to create these kinds of blocks first, and then smooth it all out into one beautiful giant nose. Let's take a sip of water. Wait a minute. Let's do the same. I will work with symmetry. Apparently this mesh is not symmetrical, so I should fix that. Try to make that block out, volume block out first. I will actually dye the mesh already, just because it will give me a little bit more accurate selection. Somewhere like that. Okay, I feel like I have too much resolution. So I'll go down to 64. I'll even go down to 32. Ah, the project thing is still on. Project, turn that off. Alright. That will be a little bit easier. Get a nice block for that nose. The lip, the muzzle of the mouth, basically. And the plane of the face, so we'll just put that in a little bit. Then we go all the way up to where eyebrows are. Like the lamp button. Adding a new shape is the best. Who spends time masking and acting? I do. You guys go kiss each other or whatever you do. Or Oi. Something like that. The PC is not doing so well. The CPU is dying slowly. Oh no! And I'm fighting my USB ports now as well. Oh man. I'm dying. No. That's where problem is. Fighting the PC. Fighting his PC so you don't have to. Just push that in. So I'm going a little bit too far already, I think. If I look over here at the corner of the screen, we want rotate. We want to find this. blocks. Oh, this one is a little bit different in there. Sculpt. So, I'm definitely missing something here. Here's just the in-out shape that I'm missing. I trust that I will do that, and this needs some depth. Oi! Okay, I just wanted to do this. So let's draw that on there. Pull you out a little bit. Pull you back a little bit. Get a tiny smooth brush. I will double my resolution because I like to do brush magic. So I'm going to draw the line first and then connect the planes. This time I'm using H polish, brush H polish to push or pull things in the normal direction until they are flat. So if I do that with my camera at a little bit of an angle, or if I create a little bit of an angle first, basically, I can create a flat plane between where I want to start and end. Let's see. Hey, would sculpting these David study pieces be enough preparation before moving into anatomy studies? I've already sculpted several studies before, but unfortunately that was a year or more ago and I stopped. Now I want to get back to it. Yeah, these, as Bob was saying, I do like, I recommend these exercises. It's never too early to study. Learning, you just have to do it, right? You have to do studies, well, otherwise you don't progress. So I don't think it's you have to do these before going deeper into anatomy, but these are great practice exercises to help you see and measure, and also when you're learning more anatomy, very clearly see all of these different bits of anatomy within the sculpture, because as I said in the previous screen, if I just go to the David head, right? The great thing about the David is that everything is very well defined as Lanteri, which is why Lanteri recommends it. Everything's made with a lot of precision and knowledge of form and anatomy. So he, Michelangelo, when he was making this, he knows a whole bunch of stuff that you don't know when you're starting out, when you're learning. Even when you get to master level, there might still be things that he knows better than you. But the great thing about when he is making this, everything's very well defined. So if you look at the mouth, you can see how much this is going inside of the lips. This lip is curling into the inside of the mouth, right? Which is something that I don't know how long it would take me to notice if somebody didn't point it out to me. So what I also do is here, whoop, what I did last week as well. Let me turn off my other subtool. Look, the nose. Yeesh. And I have a scan. So David on this side and a scan on the other side. You can see that the corner of the mouth is going inside. Oh my, oh, is it crashing? Okay, no it's not. It is just thinking very long when I control Z. Just like in the David, it's going inside, but it's just so much more subtle. So it's a lot harder to notice and to study from at first. Once you know that these are things that happen, then you can start to look for them. So the thing with the David is you can find out what things are important for the face. What parts of the nose are important to create a nose? What parts of the brow are important to create a brow? Once you know what those parts are, you can find and locate those same parts on a real human model. It's just a lot less exaggerated. And that's why I think it's a really good exercise to sculpt something from a master before sculpting from life. Let me just read up a little bit. Make it easier to focus on one specific part. Yes, I also, because I broke it up in every different part, you don't get distracted by the proportions between each part. Is there an anime version of those David study piece? Struggling making anime noses. Not yet. Sure, I mean a way to get used to the clay again and regain the feel for sculpting. Yes, perfect indeed. Can I share the David scan with the parts too? Yes, definitely. All the models from the David are just from Scan the World. I put a download package together in the Gumroad down in the description or in a link or in the link tree. On our Gumroad, you can just download them there. Bram already posted all of that. Great, thank you Bram. And yeah, it's just set up in a Z-tool for ZBrush 2022 or newer. It has this whole folder structure with each piece, and then you can use the transform split screen to use the split screen function of ZBrush. And start sculpting. And yeah, I also have included the models as OBJs and FBXs, just in case you're not using ZBrush. So you can also use it in Blender or Nomad or Mudbox, whatever you want. Oh, I switched. Ooh, this plane over here. Blender! Oh, it's a Blender fan. The great thing about Blender is just that it can do everything. So let me just undo all of these little types that I made on here. I think this one is a little bit heavy. 3.9 mil. Held it in for so long. Give a chance to ZBrush and iPad, but never started. I mean, it's ZBrush and iPad is very much like ZBrush on PC. So in all the good and in all the bad ways. So let's continue with that nose. But yes, I appreciate the questions, Moab. Mo Abdel. Mo, I'll just call you Mo. Sorry if I butchered your name. So, and as always, I would recommend to work from big to small. So first the biggest volumes, then the biggest shapes, then the biggest planes. Another exercise that I recommend for oh good, my friend. Oh, is good. Yes. Okay, good. I mentioned this in the stream last week, but I can just do it very quickly. One thing that I used to do a lot as just a warm-up is squaring the sphere. So I just start with a sphere, any sphere, and I use my tools, my camera, move brush, tab standard, clay builder, whatever. Like my most, this is where I figured out my most used brushes. Basically, it's just to turn the sphere into a cube. Call it squaring the sphere. It makes you get used to switching your brushes, to moving the camera around, checking the angles of things, checking the surfaces. And I would just do that as like a 5 to 10 minute warm up, basically. Before doing some more sculpting. So that can also be a nice exercise for just when you're getting back into it. It's also a nice place to experiment with some brushes. So you, for example, you one warm-up day, you can limit yourself to only use the move brush and then get as close as possible as you can to a square, for example, or only use the clay buildup or stuff like that. Just trying out different limitations and different experimentations. Right now. Oh! Am I still there? My OBS was saying that it was reconnecting. Uh-oh. Am I live? Am I alive? Looks like I'm back on Twitch. OBS was saying that that was a connection problem. Let's see. YouTube. Check, double check. Check, double check. Yeah, I think we are here. We are still here. Good. Thanks. ZBrush is so old style. Oh, Heatris, you're just trying to convert some more souls to Blender. But yeah, okay. Squaring the sphere. Highly recommend that as a little warm-up. Because it's just good to learn the tools, good to learn the cameras, and it is always good if you can turn any round shape into a square shape. That's gonna be very useful. As you can see over here as well, is that I'm turning this round nose first into square blocks that are apparently too low. Now that I see them on top of each other, but let's fix that then. Oh yeah, definitely too low. We always need new blood. Not gonna lie. But if they change it in the future, I'd be mad. Finally got used to it. Yeah, I am a little scared about this UI upgrade that they promised for ZBrush. I like the UI. It's exactly how I made it. Yes, at first I didn't know where anything was, but once I knew, I just put everything that I used in the places that I used them. And now everything's where I want it to be. And it's so easy to change. Customize, make it your own. It's your tool, it's not everybody's tool, it's your tool. Load in your custom interface and go. Bottom, we want to create these planes like this, and all more or less on one surface. forward, and this one can go a little bit back. So this bridge is definitely smaller. So I'm gonna just shave a little bit away. Probably too much. And that makes me realize that this is also too wide. I probably didn't have the correct starting plane at the start. Mine is too wobbly. But we're on digital clay, we can just adjust as we go. It's just something to note for whenever we're creating our next thing. Autosave means drink a sip of water. Bram's 2022 ZBrush will never be updated. He's safe from the changes. They should bring in an option. Blender changed everything too, but they opened it in the options. Yeah, I think they will have an option to switch back, but I don't know. Lately, all of the companies, Microsoft, Adobe, Maxon, all of them, they have just been breaking stuff. So what I think what might happen is that they introduce the new UI with the option to change back to the old UI, but then if you change back to the old UI, other things are broken, is my expectation. Everything is just it seems like all of the companies are just bringing out a bunch of broken stuff lately. Too much vibe coding. But maybe I'm just a doomer boomer. Thinking the worst of it all. Gosh darn companies taking my money. Okay, no need to make these eye corners. That's just gonna be distracting. I see there's less. There's a line there. Less depth than I am. So I feel like it's more around there. I say I feel I should measure at this stage, so let's measure. The depth is good of my line, but I feel it is too low. Let's see. This point. Oh yeah. I mean, it's closer than I thought it was. So what about this? Point. There's something wrong there. Let's see on the other side. Yeah, it's not. Needs a little bit forward. Like, yeah. Wait. A little bit like that. So many people love the UI on iPad. Yeah, I mean, the thing about the UI on the iPad is it looks nice, but everything is not accessible. It's if I want to go to my own custom brushes, I first have to swipe to the right before they are available, instead of that they are just there from the start. I cannot use any hotkeys to switch. You cannot customize hotkeys. If you plug in a keyboard into your iPad, right? So you can have hotkeys on a keyboard. You can only use the default hotkeys. You cannot put your custom hotkeys in there. The same with like materials and stuff. You can only put them in their designated. This is the area for your custom brushes and material area, instead of just put it anywhere on your computer screen where you want it. Like over here, if I go to configuration, right, and I enable customization, I can take any button and place it anywhere around my screen. Now that's not good for me, but it's custom. You can just make it how you like it. And in this, on the iPad, it's like you have to have the things on the left hand side and you have to have the things on the right hand side, and they can swap around, but you cannot have half of the one near the other. You cannot, it's not customizable at all. So yeah, restore UI, and voila, that's my big gripe with the iPad ZBrush. And you cannot export FBX, and they were like, oh yeah, we cannot export FBX because we need Autodesk to update their FBX, whatever the hell Autodesk has to do with FBXs, to work on iPad before we can do that. But then you open Nomad, right? Way cheaper program, like you only pay once and then you have it, no subscription. And Nomad can import and export FBXs easily. No trouble. Nomad can rebind any of the keybinds. You can just rebind them in their tool. No problem. ZBrush is like, oh no, but iOS stops us from doing that. Nomad can do it, so you should be able to do it too. Why are you making excuses? Nomad is made by one guy, if I'm not wrong. I mean, ZBrush was also made by one guy way back in the day. So, yeah. ZBrush on iPad, very nice on the go, but I have my gripes. I have done professional work on the ZBrush iPad thing, so it's definitely not impossible, it just forces me to go slow. Which is not always a bad thing, but it's not ideal. Yeah, massive company software versus a small enthusiast software, indeed. How come the small enthusiast wins? I just need to take a little bit of time to get used to Nomad, and maybe I'll just do a big switch. Because Nomad is on desktop now as well. Because I just don't like to switch softwares constantly. I just like to use the same thing. So if I can have the same thing on both devices, that's better. I don't want to have the same thing, but you cannot use this, but you cannot use that. But this is different. I just want the same thing. So to create nose holes, by lack of a better word. I mask the places where I'm going to pull them inside. I mask, and then I invert the mask, and then use the move brush to create some depth for the holes. Okay, I will do that later. What I'm talking about is this shape going inside of the nose, which adds a lot of realism when you put that in there. It's just at the moment I don't have the polygons for that, so it's on my to-do later list. Whoop. This line is a lot more straight over here than it is in mine. Mine is like an S. So that tells me something is wrong and I should measure something. So I will measure the tip first. Just the tip. And my tip is way off. So that is probably enough to make everything into a straight line. And now I moved all of this, which created some problems in the surface over there, but we'll just sculpt over it and fix it out. Like, voila. Yeah. You have to be careful not to trap yourself with perfection. Like, I could go to like a very high resolution, make everything look nice and smooth constantly. Right? I could do that. And in principle, there's not a technically there's not a problem with doing that, because you can still make the changes and you can adjust and then re-smooth it again. But the mental problem, I guess, with it is that if things are looking more perfect but they are not right, you're more scared to change them. So that's also a little bit of a gripe that I have with using base meshes that have a lot of detail in them. If you start with something like that with a bunch of detail, then you're scared to make the changes that you need to make. It's like, oh, but this already looks nice. I just tweak it like a little bit, right? I just tweak it a little bit. I'm not changing a lot, but maybe it needs a big change. So it's something that I try to be aware of, is to not be scared of making changes. Just go and make a big change, or just even like remove everything and start over. Like, Don't be scared to do that. So if you stay lower poly, where everything looks unfinished, you're way less scared of changing things, because it's like, it's just a few polygons. It's not hard to change, right? Says likes to exhaust the subdivision before I add a new one. Yeah, only adding a new subdivision when you really need it. Yeah, that's a good baseline rule. I'm not even using subdivisions, although I would recommend using subdivisions. When I'm not using subdivisions like now, it forces me to go step by step and try to lock in the shapes as good as I can, and then just like more or less committing to it before I go higher, because then it's a lot harder to change, as I was saying before. And for a production that would not be my recommendation to do. I would recommend subdivisions all the way. But if you're working with dynamic like this and you cannot go back in subdivisions, it forces you to commit and just like learn, make the most of it, and move on. It's just practice. You're practicing a different way of thinking. You're practicing that you have to get as close as you can before going up in resolution. Because after you go up in resolution, it is really hard to change. You cannot just lower subdivisions easily. Now, it's not entirely true, because you can just recreate subdivisions, reproject, work in that way. ZBrush is flexible in that way. But it's better for your brain to exercise with different ways of thinking. Higitras, almost 1 AM, gotta go. Have a good night, Higitras. Enjoy your night, have a good sleep. It is almost time to end it over here as well, in like 10 minutes. So, yeah, just as I was saying before, let's just, damn it, commit. Let's see how close to a finished look we can get in those 10 minutes. It will be a less, it might be a less correct way, shapes of those basic shapes that I just committed to. But as I said, exercise is good. Different way of thinking never hurt anybody. Well, expanding your ways of thinking never hurt anybody. And then you can, when it matters, choose the one that you prefer. It's like, I know if I do this, this will happen, because I tried it out. Or if I work in this way, then I can use these things. But maybe I don't need those. Learning, learning, learning. just like before in the eyes. I'm just gonna build up some surface. Especially here in this transitionary area. Just feel like I mismeasured somehow when I was doing this. No, it is in the right area. Well, anyway, as I said, since we committed to this high detail, very hard to change. Try to fix the planes. I will change to a round alpha so we get a little bit less stripy artifacts. So you can see there's a little bit of the bulge over here on that round cartilage. This kind of shape. Also, other general tips during working is zoom out more than you think and use bigger brushes than you think. For me, especially when I was starting, I would very often just use these very small brushes. I mean, smaller than this actually. Like I would try to get this line, so I would get like this. And then like make a small brush like this, make a small brush like this, and everything just becomes wobbly. So now usually I have a brush that's bigger, but then I just touch the edges. I don't go on the insides too much. Bigger brush, bigger precision. Learned over time. And the thing about zooming out is just not getting lost in those details, the same with the big brush. Turn down the intensity of your brushes as well. Oh. So we have gotten a news, and we have gotten an eye. Let me see, what was I doing? Yeah, split screen off. A nose and an eye working together. Maybe even a mouth. Where's my mouth from last week? Ciao. Warp. And then there's an ear, of course, but the ear's like way on the side. Might not be able to see that well, but that's how we have a face. I think this ear needs to be more backwards, like so. My ear's gone. There. Look at that beautiful face. All the features are coming together. So, yeah. I hope you guys have seen some ways of creating eyes. Went over it a few times earlier. And a little demonstration of nose and mouth. And if you have any questions, just join in our Discord. Post questions there. We'll do our best to answer it all. And I hope you download the David pack in the link down in the description. And also for that, any questions, put them in Discord. And then next Tuesday, we will be back with our next stream. Our speed scoped, Tuesday speed scope day. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for staying all the way until the end. And have a good night. Bye bye. And a good weekend.